Welcome back to Build Breakdown. I feel like every video I start in the same position, but we're in a 2-car garage, so I guess you can't expect much else. Anyways, we have a fun little project. I say little, it's gonna be big. One of the last build breakdowns, maybe even the last build breakdown, we did the aluminum plate for the front of the transmission, and there's a couple extra pieces that we need to create for it. This project's gonna get a little bit hairy, not at the moment, but eventually when we go to the final piece, we have to start learning how to weld aluminum, which is so much harder than steel. I may have to take it somewhere and just say, hey, can you weld this onto this? I'll explain in a minute. Aluminum is hard to weld. I don't wanna spend all this time and money making a piece and then ruin it just because I don't know how to weld, so. But what are we making it? So on the front, there's a cutout for the shifter linkage and a cutout for the input shaft, which anybody who sat and watched me figure this stuff out, and I was figuring out why it's offset, the piece of metal actually got unlevel when it was sitting on the CNC. And so the reason it looks unlevel, or it looks out of line, is because the hole, instead of being bored out center, it got bored out at an angle. That's a steep angle, but you know what I mean. So I just had to be better about clamping it down. I don't know why, I clamped it down pretty good. So we'll just be careful of that. I do have a piece of MDF on there that is like just soaked in oil from all the steel that we've been making. So I'll probably replace that and have just a clean flat surface. So that shouldn't be an issue in the future. This one up here, I already have a design for it. I just need to take some final measurements and 3D print it. We won't be able to test it on this piece of aluminum because the hole that I need is gonna be a lot bigger, because I forgot there's a big washer that goes on there to stop it from, I think it's to stop from overshifting on the gears, like how a lot of shifters will have set screws on them so you don't overshift. I think it's for that. This one right here is gonna be a little bit harder because we have to add in a seal for it. So this one is just gonna seal on its own. But this one is gonna need a rubber seal, so we have to basically design in a groove to press in a seal. It is not pressing, it's rubber, it's not like metal you're pressing in, but just have a groove for a seal to go in. And then also hope the seal doesn't pop back out, because we're gonna have nothing holding it from coming out. It'll just be pressed in one way. But there's not really gonna be any forces on it that would push it back outwards. It's just spinning, it's just sealing on the shaft, so should be fine there. Now, the reason we have to weld it is because, so on this one, basically what I'm doing, I'm boring out that hole a little bit more, and then on the back, we have about 6 millimeters, or I think we have 6 millimeters? No, we have the full 12, we have the full 1/2 inch to play with. So basically what I'm doing is I'm gonna cut out half of that. So 6 point whatever millimeters. And then I'm gonna recess the cover for it into that. So it basically pressed in from the inside. On the one for the input shaft, we don't have that much room. We have maybe 6 millimeters to play with. So if you cut that in half and do like 3 and 3, that 3 millimeters of aluminum is not a lot. So we're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna make a perfect fit for it and then have someone go back in and weld it. Lots to think about, but this piece actually has to be fairly strong. Not the top piece, the one for the input shaft, has to be fairly strong because that's what the throwout bearing is gonna ride on, which luckily, because we're doing all this custom, we can choose what size throwout bearing we wanna use, because all we have to do is make the outside as thick as whatever the input shaft or the throwout bearing is made for. But I'm gonna get designing, I'll show you the models, and then I'll 3D print them over the next couple of days before this comes out. And we'll just get a decent look at what they're gonna be. Also, I should have the seals here by then. I ordered a couple of them, and we can test fit those and also make sure they fit on the shaft, because I measured the shaft and I ordered the right seal for it, or what I think, but again, all this is custom, so we're just, there's always gonna be unknowns, so we'll see. Anyways, hopefully you guys are enjoying these build breakdowns. I've been having a lot of fun making these, sharing all my thoughts in my head. That's where I really have the most fun, but I'm gonna get back to the project and I'll come back with an update. Just got done with the first prototype of this is where the throwout bearing is gonna sit, the main input shaft cover, if you wanna say that. I'm sure there's a more official word for it that I'm not thinking of. But yeah, I have all the cutouts for all the, where's it? This is the seal that's gonna go on the main input shaft to seal it from stopping all the fluid from coming back out. So there's a cutout for that in there. The 3D print, I've said it a million times, they shrink when you print them. So this doesn't quite fit right now because the measurements were a little off, but this will pressed into there, and then this will be pressed into here, and then probably welded. It's a little bit of a tight fit because it is almost perfect, but that's a little bit what it'll look like. So this extra lip right here is just to make room for all the cutouts in the back. I wish we wouldn't have to have it, but it is what it is. And then this right here is just where the throwout bearing will sit. I'm hoping, this is just a guesstimate of how long this is gonna be. I'm hoping we can have a little bit more room, because this right here is the measurement of like one of the shortest throwout bearings I can find. I'm hoping to get a little bit more wiggle room than what we have. So working on that, and then yeah, we'll just weld it on the front around here. And because there's such a big lip, you know, you don't have to like weld it and then shave it down to be flat, because it's not gonna hit against the front plate, it's gonna hit right on that ridge. This is where the throwout bearing is gonna press off of. I think there is one measurement that I'm gonna have to adjust and play with a little bit, because on the front of the transmission where the bearing goes, there's all these extra little ridges. And I think this extra ridge right here is giving me problems, because when you go to put it on, when you just have the piece on there, you can get to butt it all the way up against it. But when you slide it in there and make sure it's all even, and you try to put the whole plate on, you can't get it to go all the way on, if that makes any sense. Basically, I think one of my measurements is messed up, but that should be easy to solve. And then you can see this, the seal, we're trying to get the seal to ride like right there. I think that's where the old one used to go. So we slip that on, it's a perfect fit. And so this will be, you know, stationary, it'll be held in place by the front cover. And then there's a little, kind of rubber seal in there. So just like same thing as like a front main seal, where it's just a outer like metal ring and then like a rubber inner kind of flexible piece. It's a seal. The only other piece we have left is, I had a print of it, this top cover up here. I think I'm gonna have to reprint that, so I'll be back when I do that. Also, I just thought of, if we're gonna weld this one, we can just weld that one. I think at one point I said I'll use JB Weld. It sounds sketchy, it's a good tool, you can use it the right way, but if we're welding one, we can just weld the other. So I'm gonna get another one of those printed, and I think the reason I don't have the first prototype is because it was too small and I broke it. So we'll fix that and come back when I'm done. In no time for you, we have the new piece. I can't fit this one up like I can the other one, because we redesigned the entire piece up here. So it'll actually be, so it's 12 millimeters thick, we'll cut down 6, then that is 6, and we'll slip it in from the back, and then it'll just be a little capsule. This is actually the, I think I showed it in another video, maybe in this video. I filmed these things so far apart, I can't remember. Oh, I broke it. What I was saying is I film a lot of these things so far apart, I forget what I filmed until I go to edit, so. But that's broken now, but we'll still have a, see if we can just hold it up. So you have those pieces, and then that will just go like that. That, what I was saying is that's the I'd say it's a washer, some kind of spacer, I don't know. We obviously don't want fluid coming out of there. So, and I doubt much would, but you want to make sure dirt doesn't get in and fluid doesn't get out. So we'll have this just kind of sit like that on the front, because it does protrude out. Now, most people are probably thinking, well, your bell housing is gonna bolt up here, which is fine for this because there's a big hole in the middle for this. That's true. What I'm gonna do is, wherever this lines up on the bell housing, actually, I think I did some measurements before, and I don't have the bell housing here with me because it's getting machined right now, but the hole on the bell housing, there's some kind of vent hole at the top. I don't know what it's for, some casting hole, I don't know. But it lines up exactly where this is, luckily. So we're just gonna take that and kind of oval it out and just make some room for it. It's not gonna hurt the structure of the bell housing at all, so not too worried about it. Anyways, not a ton of information in this video, but I like just showing every little part. We got this piece, the top piece, the seal for the shaft. That's pretty cool. We don't have a throwout bearing yet. I'm still deciding on a throwout bearing. It obviously has to be a hydraulic throwout bearing. I did the modeling based off of one for this, but if we need a shorter one, I don't even know if I can find one. We might be able to. And also just trying to find one that's like a good brand. I don't want to cheap out, but I also don't want to spend a ton of money because they're expensive. We also have the new plate for this to make another one. Hopefully this time it'll be cut out level, because that was the problem with this one. I think I had said already where like it basically exaggerated. The thing was sitting like this into the CNC. So it cut a straight hole, but it cut it straight as compared to the machine, not compared to the piece of work, piece of metal. So we're gonna do another one to confirm all the new measurements and the new hole up here before we switch it to the big plate. Anyways, one last Easter egg for people who make it to the end of these videos and enjoy the build breakdowns. This is the second control arm that we're about to put together, which means the front end is going on tomorrow, which means the car can hold its own weight. There's no suspension in place, there's no struts, no push arms, no whatever, but we can lock the control arms in place and have it roll back and forth. Not on a jack this time. I think that's pretty cool. I'll see you in the next one.